Hello, everybody. And hello, Kibby.
Hello.
Hi. Of course, as soon as I went live, my mic stand decided to fall over. So I am doing a little bit of jiggling under the table here. Do you want to introduce yourself to the folks out there?
Yes. Hello, my name is Kibby Roseland. I am a psychic by day or psychic by night, writer by day. I have a YouTube channel that's Kibby Roseland where I do writing sprints Monday and Wednesday at 11 a.m. You can find me at Kibby Roseland. Come and join us. We're part of the new AuthorTube community, or at least I'm trying to be. We do Nano writing, Preptober, and all that fun stuff. Sprints, chit chat. Come and see people, come and meet people and get new experience and new ideas.
Hello. Okay, so I'm Jack. I am doing my first stream, only a little bit nervous. I guess I'm a streamer now. I am a psychology student. I am attempting to finish a thesis at present, and that is why I am doing these sprints, because productivity. I've got ADHD, bit of a problem for me. So these I'm hoping will keep me on track, keep me accountable, and mean that I actually get up and start writing every day in the way that I need to. I've been following Kibby's sprints and a couple of other people's sprints like Sako and BC. And they really helped me through the last bit just before I submitted my last draft. So hoping that maybe I can help some more people in the same way.
We need more writer sprints because there's Devin's cutting list. We have gaps during the day, and it's so hard because it's like, I want to sprint, but there's none available.
But there's no sprints. Yeah. And I was sort of hoping, because I'm here in Dublin. I'm on UTC +1 for another week. And sometimes this end of the day can be a little bit light on the sprints. And that can that sometimes that means that I end up working at 5 a.m. and getting off kilter from everybody.
And then your sleep gets messed up.
Yeah. So I sort of thought, hey, we can have a bit of local sprinting happening over here. Of course, Kibby has decided to be here, even though she is on mountain time.
Central time. It's
5 Central time. Oh yeah, it's BC that's on mountain time. But still,
it's 6 a.m. But
yeah,
I'm here.
Thank you for being here, because that is, that is a very early time in the morning. I don't understand it. I can stay up for as long as I like, really, but I really only ever get to see 5 a.m. from the other side.
I was like that for a long time, and then I'm naturally hyperactive though, so if I don't lay down physically, I can keep going for days. And
yeah,
so I've seen the other side of 5 a.m. many a times, but it also doesn't bother me to see it from this way either. So it doesn't matter if I get at least 2 hours of sleep or 3 hours sleep, I can go all day.
This is good. This is a dangerous power, but it can be useful at times. So what are you working on this morning, Kibby?
I am actually going to be starting on chapter 15. I've been revising the first 20 chapters of the novel I was working on. And it was first 20 chapters. after revising, it's now at 15.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to combine a few,
Yeah.
but this last chapter I actually had to split
Mm-hmm.
because it's turning out to be almost 5,000 words.
Wow.
Yeah, so 5,000 words for one chapter.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so I'm working on the second half of splitting and making sure the story still flows through the this is what I hate about splitting chapters is now I'm just like, is it going to be one of those things where like
Where's
they
the
like
natural break point?
right, and then they're going to think, okay, end scene, and then they go on to the next. It's just so. And being a new writer, this is my first book. I've never done this before, so this is literally just.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about what your book is about?
Okay, well, actually, I kind of wrote a little blurb on it. It's
Share the
basically here. Hold on, let me pull up the little blurb that I wrote.
Yeah, you can
Because
share
I
screen
think
if you like.
yeah, I think that hold on, I gotta get to it. Okay, so if I can find it. Well, in anyway, it's basically about a story of it's two towns that are being hidden from each other by a group of people. And the root of the discovery of these two cities is a young girl that they have trapped away and hidden because they know that she's a powerful witch. And if she comes of age, she can't find out who she is because it would break the control of these two cities.
Ooh.
But through the help of two people in the penitentiary, they help her to discover not only, well, she finds out who she is. And then from there, the powers of the two cities are broken. And then you find out that there's other people and other entities that are being hidden in this other city. And she works with a group to help release all these metaphysical beings. And then they ultimately basically rewrite society.
That sounds really cool.
So it's a 3-part book. The first part that I'm working on right now is the penitentiary. And it's about my main character literally coming out of a deep sleep and finding out, like she's finally gaining consciousness is basically what it is. So
lots of coming of age, liberation, identity, kind of this interesting themes
magic,
going on there.
Lots of mystery. Ooh. She has no idea the place she's been trapped, so she's discovering the penitentiary, and the penitentiary is ruled by a mistress who happens to be a very powerful being who yeah. So it's very much one of the it's a mystery, coming of age, discovery, metaphysical, Harry Potter meets DC Comics together.
Yeah. That sounds really cool. It sounds much more interesting than what I have to write.
Psychology is awesome. If I hadn't taken psychology in college, there's no way that I'd be able to write as many characters as I do.
Yeah, it is useful for that. So what I am writing at the moment is, well, I'm editing because I've where I'm at the moment is I've submitted my thesis, I've done the defense part, and they've come back to me and said, oh, well, we kind of want you to do edits now. We want you to do corrections. So I have a 10,000 word chapter that I need to restructure a bit. It's a literature review, so it's going through all of the research on a particular topic, and it's a very weird kind of literature review because if you are doing a literature review on whether a particular treatment works or something like that, it's a lot more straightforward. You can sort of go, okay, so these studies say this and these studies say that, and these studies are of better quality and have more people in them, and so we can kind of say this. Whereas I am looking at a concept, and it's an interesting concept, actually. It's because I think that it sounds weird at first, but once I explain it, people tend to relate to it. It's called experiential avoidance. Have you ever heard of it?
No, but with how much experience I have and how much I've been in psychology since I was 7.
Yeah.
So, oh, wow.
Yeah, so basically, it's a concept from third wave therapies like acceptance and commitment therapy. Kind of brings in some they've kind of brought in some Buddhist ideas about and added them into kind of cognitive therapies in thinking about our way of thinking.
Like DBT,
Yeah, yeah,
dialectical
it's
behavioral.
yeah, very much from the same school as DBT. Uh and basically experiential avoidance, the idea is that it's the avoidance of internal experiences, and they're saying that this is something that leads to lots of problems, because if you think about addictions, a lot of that is about avoiding a negative internal experience.
Mhm.
OCD, you have that thought and the emotions that go with it, and then you perform some kind of ritual to avoid that. So it's
Even
something that you can,
schizophrenics.
yeah, even in that, if you are afraid of trying to avoid voice hearing experiences, yeah, that's gonna make things more stressful. And a lot of the times, the things that we do to kind of avoid experiences that we're having can make our mental health worse. So that's
Mhm.
that's the basic concept. But the thing is, they put together some questionnaires to try to measure it, and I'm picking it apart a little bit and going, yeah, it's a really useful concept, but one, is everybody talking about the same thing? Because a lot of them are sort of concentrating on some aspects of it and not others. Some authors are saying this is a deliberate process, and some are saying it's unconscious. And two, are the measures that we have, are the questionnaires actually tapping all of it? Because a lot of the questions were relating very much to emotional avoidance, and particularly to avoidance of sadness and fear. And I'm like, yeah, but
You
is
avoid
avoid
more than
yeah,
just sadness and fear.
yeah,
Most people avoid pain the most.
yeah,
Most people go to deep lengths to avoid pain.
yeah, and it's the question that I would have is, are people who avoid, say, physical pain going to is that the same as are they going to show up on the same scale as people who are avoiding feeling afraid, feeling angry?
Mhm.
Are
That's a very good question because
or feeling things that you might think of as a bit more neutral, like sexual feelings,
Mhm.
which some people might feel ashamed of because of
I was gonna
various
say,
cultural
could be a
factors.
negative impulse that they're trying to avoid.
Yeah,
So, no,
yeah.
I think
So
you
it's Yeah, so basically I'm writing about that, but it takes a lot of words, and I have to make it less words, and also put it in an order that makes more sense to people, because yeah, ADHD brains, and
words are hard. That is
yeah,
something the author tube like, that is a saying that we all preach
words
because it's true. Words are
are
hard.
hard.
They're
Yeah.
hard. It's hard to sometimes write them. It's
Mhm.
also hard to not write them.
Yeah, and it's hard
So
to edit them.
and it's hard to edit them. It's hard to think of the right one at the right time. I mean, how many times have you sat there typing a sentence and then you go,
I hate it.
"Discernment? Is that to cite? Is wait, what? Ah!"
And that's what I think that the sprints are helpful for in some ways, because it provides that sort of artificial thing to make you go, but I have to write the words now, so I will just write some words and not wait for the perfect words.
See, I love the sprints because I'm one of those that if I look forward to my break.
Hmm.
I can work, like I can sit down and work, work, work. But if I don't see a break, the quality of work that I'm doing. So
Yeah.
the sprints, that's why, because it's like those 20 minutes, I am so hyper focused because I know that break is coming up, that the amount of work I can get done. And that's, and it was like I was trying to figure out how to not, because I was power punching. I was doing 7, 8 hours of writing straight
Yeah.
without a
But
break.
after a while,
Well, I would
it's
have to go back in the last like 2 hours of my work. I pretty much had to delete
Yeah.
because I was overworked, I was stressed, I wasn't writing right, it didn't make sense. I thought it made
Mm-hmm.
sense, didn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah. When you read it back afterwards, it doesn't necessarily make as much
And
sense.
I was jumping all over the place, and I was adding in facts that I think I was trying to remind myself to add, and I was just kind of
Mm,
throwing them in at the time. And that's when I started finding the sprint channels, Sacco's, BC's. There's Meadows too, Meadow
yeah.
Lamore. I forgive me on her name,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that when I was like, okay, it was literally just let me try this. Does this work?
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, yeah. After the first sprint, I was so floored. So I started doing the same thing. You and I started this doing the same thing because I
Yeah.
was like, found that there was pockets where there weren't any, and I was like, well, if I want to do it, why not just do
Mm-hmm.
it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It is one of those things, a particular sort of personality that
and
the
and
route between.
we all get nervous beforehand. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
All of
mean,
us do.
I've done enough performance that I know the score. But yeah, there is a certain sort of personality that goes very quickly from, hey, I like this new hobby, to, oh, I'm organizing this new hobby. Ask me sometime about how I ended up running a LARP system.
Oh man, that happens so much. It's like it's like your spider
Yeah.
web. You link the one first thing, and the next thing you know, you have a full web.
Hmm. But speaking of sprints, because I'm seeing we're now at 16 minutes, that's probably about time to get into our first. So that we don't end up just talking to each other, because this is the danger with the two of us, I suspect, that we will end up just talking to each other all the time.
Probably, but that's
Okay.
okay. It keeps
Yeah.
the middle of the sprints interesting.
It certainly will. Let's see. Can we
You
do
trick
this?
figuring out how see, and this is why I was so glad to help be here this day because this kind of stuff when you're trying to figure out how to share the timer, how to do all the back end stuff. Yeah.
Whoop. Okay. So turn off your mic and I will see you in 25.
All right.
Welcome back.
Oh, those 25 minutes go way too fast for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And yeah, and I think you're right when you saying it yesterday when you're on this side of it, they do go faster
mhm.
because you kind of have to devote an amount of your brain to this to managing this bit of it. I still got some stuff done. What about you?
I got 477 words edited out of the 3,500 that I have to go. So I was efficient.
This good.
And I
That's
dealt with the little barky chaos because the puppers woke up. So
puppers.
yeah, I have a 125-pound American pit bull.
That's quite a large dog.
He weighs more than me, but I can manhandle him like no other. And my Italian definitely holds authority when it comes to commanding him. So yeah, I pull out my Sicilian, and he's like, and I'm like, yes, good puppy. But what did you
Wow.
get done?
Yeah, so I read over the section that I am looking at, and then I made an outline of the changes that I wanted to make, and then I realized that a lot of the papers that I've based this on are in my old laptop, which has since oh, everything went wrong while I was writing this thesis. From a global pandemic to every piece of technology I own breaking. And yeah, my laptop screen just stopped working one day, and I had to get this, and thankfully I was able to transfer most things, but it meant that the stuff that I yeah, there's the easy reference is no longer there, so I had to go back and go to my reference section and then go look it up again to get the paper, because some of it's going to involve going back to some original papers and going, okay, I got to write a bit more about this one
Well, at
and
least you
this
don't have
one.
to go all the way back to the card log in the library,
That's good. Yeah.
you know?
I guess that is certainly a thing. I mean, I don't think I would have been able to do what I did with the card log in the library. Uh, yeah, the original literature search came up with like several hundred things that I skimmed the abstracts of to be able to tell what was going to be useful and what wasn't. So yeah, the age of Google is a useful thing for research in a lot of ways. Also, the age of Sci-Hub. You don't know about Sci-Hub? Sci-Hub's amazing. If you happen to
What
be
is
listening,
Sci-Hub?
Sci-Hub is sort of Pirate Bay for research papers. So if your university isn't linked up to the right journal, you can drop the link into Sci-Hub, and they can usually find it. I
That is
I
a
know
really
that.
nice way to share work.
Yeah, and I know, sometimes when I talk to writing friends about this, they're like, oh, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, except uh, authors of scientific journals do not get paid.
Yeah.
Neither do peer reviewers.
And
The
plagiarism
journal
is real.
the journal just makes all the money, and it very often charges you to publish. So I feel not so bad about stealing from them. When
What?
they're yeah, because they're like they charge they make most of their money off university subscriptions. But if some of the journal articles are like, yeah, pay 40 quid to to read this one time, but the authors don't get any of that money. Neither do the people who review it. It is just the companies that own the rights to them. And the problem is that academics have to publish in these journals because it's publish or perish. Otherwise, you don't keep your job.
It's the catch-22.
Yeah, so they've kind of got people over a barrel there. But yeah, there are some open access journals. Unfortunately, a lot of them are like, oh yeah, so we're not going to charge the end user, so we're going to charge you for it. and I don't know about other people, but I don't have a £1,000 lying around to get somebody to publish my work for free.
Especially when there's so many channels where you can publish for free, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, it's not in
it's
the
not
area
official.
that you
It's
you need
not
to.
peer reviewed. Yeah, so that's so that is a whole thing. But yeah, if
So
there are any
we both
students
lost a
listening,
laptop this year, huh?
yeah,
I
yeah.
poured paint water on mine.
Oh
I was painting
no.
and I was dumb. I had my laptop on the floor and I had my brush cleaning sitting right next to it.
Mm.
Something happened, straight onto the keyboard. It worked for the rest of my shift, and then
Oh,
so we both had a laptop casualty this year.
yeah.
I Apple's just making a ton of money. Oh, stretch. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for reminding me to stretch.
Yeah. Yeah. I set up some banners yesterday and suddenly remembered, oh yeah, I have banners.
I actually have it on my list to make that banner, the stretch and save banner.
Yeah, it's really easy in StreamYard. You can just type like
I can just anything I like here. I can go back. It does. There is a level of like, ooh, I got the power. I've got the power. That's definitely involved with, yeah.
yeah.
It's so fun, but it's so funny at the same time. Because you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I look like I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to pretend I know what I'm doing, but I actually have absolutely no clue what I'm doing.
Yeah. I don't know if I look like I know what I'm doing, but I'm going to pretend I do anyway.
Well, just to let you know, there's a lot of like I'm a mod for Emily D. Baker. She's one of the biggest law nerd YouTubers on whatever.
Yeah,
She
she's very
still
cool.
even has moments where she's just like, I'm professional, guys. We're professionals. It's okay. You know? So I think doing lives, I personally, that's one thing I like about lives is you have those little moments where you kind of get to feel like you're more in, you're more in the green room, you're more behind the scenes with the people instead of just sitting in front of the TV watching them.
Yeah.
It makes it
Yeah.
more real, more personable.
Yeah. Yeah, there's I gotta say, I mean, one of the things parasocial relationships and all of that, but like when I've like typed in and said something and then people actually talk back to me.
Engagement.
Yeah. Also, it's hilarious watching them trying to pronounce my name because yeah,
Avrilta.
Avrilta. Yeah,
Avril.
it means anomalous, as in an exception.
I
Uh,
sat for probably 20 minutes yesterday.
yeah, it's like really straightforward to pronounce if you speak Irish and almost impossible otherwise.
And I remember when you text me, you're like, I'm coming up with a name that Americans can pronounce. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's not just you. It's not just you. But yeah, I decided to go for one of my pen names instead because it's like it's an international audience. I'd like people to be able to remember and spell my channel name.
Yep. And that's key, is being able to have other people in other countries be able to see
Yeah.
it, recognize it, and spell it easily.
Yeah. And like even like in my own time zone, it's like it's us, the British and some of the Portuguese. So it's like, yeah, my Irish is not spoken by a whole lot of people. The Scottish can. They've got a very similar language, so we tend to be able to guess each other's languages a little bit more. But yeah, I
Well, and
figured
also
something sensible,
you guys
sensibly
hear each
simple.
other all the time. So the pronunciations of
Yeah,
things are a little bit more Americans, unless it's West Coast and East Coast. You got those with the Southern drawl, and then you got
yeah,
those with the, except for like Minnesota and those little places. But for the most part, we all pronounce our words fairly similarly, or our letters anyway.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's interesting. uh, America and the rest of the world is interesting because we know a lot more about you than you know about us. That
Your
must be kind of
history's too
strange.
long.
Your history's long as well. It's just that you don't know a lot of it.
Oh, that's yeah. Well, we could go into the American
The
education
First Nations
system.
were there for a while.
Oh, you're not the only one, believe me, because there's a lot of times that I talk to people and I'm like, why didn't I learn about any of this? Why
Yeah.
didn't they teach us any of this? And it's like, oh, well, you need to know. They raised us to be able to run our country, is
Mm.
kind of how I feel like they taught us in school. It's like they expected us to just, they were pumping out machines, is what they're doing.
Ooh. And on that chilling note, we're gonna do another sprint, and I'd feel a little sorry for those who were subjected to the American education system.
We're raised to work. We're raised
Yeah.
to get out of college, get a job, and give the government money.
Ugh. Yeah. I don't know what they're raising us to do here, but our history tends to not encourage one to be compliant, shall we say. Okay. I'm going to mute myself and we'll see you in 25 minutes. And we are back. Hi.
The dreaded alarm.
It's I'm not dreading it. It's a chance to talk to you again.
Oh, that's true.
Though
Okay.
you're stuck with me.
You just made me feel bad. Okay. I meant the dreaded alarm in the sense of, guess what? Stop working, whatever you're doing.
I have to stop writing. No.
Drop your pens. Everybody, pencils down. Faces forward.
Oh God. I'm sorry. Am I giving you SAT flashbacks?
No, actually, my mother was a teacher for 30 years. It's more like at home when mom goes, dinner time, pencils down, everybody come to the table.
Oh God, when your mom has a teacher voice.
Oh, yes. And she had class sizes. Her smallest class size was 150 students of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Wow. So she definitely had the teacher voice.
That's down. Wow. Wow. The largest class I was in 7th, 8th grade, that would be like 11-ish.
Oh, her largest class
was... No, like years.
Oh.
Grades. We have a different system. So, I mean, my largest class size up to the age of about 18, going off to college, would have been about 32. Yeah.
My smallest class size was 32.
Yeah, I mean, we had 100 and something in the year. But
my graduating class was almost 600 students just in high school.
Yeah, we were, my whole school would have been.
Oh wow.
Yeah, our schools here tend to be a lot smaller. Wow.
We actually ended up graduating. We ended up using one of the college campuses to graduate because there were so many students. And they even talked about splitting it into 2 different days because there were so many. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's huge.
Well, my mom's biggest class size was 320. 320 6th, 7th, and 8th graders she had to control for an hour.
Wow.
In one class.
Yeah. In rural Ireland, it's not uncommon to have certainly primary schools with classes of 3 or 4.
See, that is probably part of the education problem here in America.
Yeah,
I don't ever remember being able to work one-on-one with my teacher. It was like maybe once a week, but in regards to actually having that one-on-one class attention where it's not just you raising your hand and asking a question for the whole class, but actually sitting down with the teacher, you didn't get that till college.
Wow.
Unless you were actually a struggling student and like your parents stepped up and like.
And you had an IEP and stuff like that.
And spoke for you and everything. But most of the kids, you really did. Like I grew up in an area that was I went to Rancho Bernardo High, but we kind of called it Rich High because a lot of the LA parents that didn't want their kids going to the schools in Hollywood sent them down to our school. So we had a lot of students. I mean, everybody drove Beamers and Mercedes and everybody was dressed to the nines. I mean, I learned about Donnie and Burke and Coach and all that in high school because that's what they carried around. And
we had pea green uniforms.
Oh, we didn't have, dude, the parents fought so that our students would be allowed to show bra straps. Like our school, we were allowed to show bra straps because the parents were like, no. It was really a very different area. But the education was it was very different because most of these kids had private tutors. Most of them could afford to pay private tutors. And a lot of them paid things off. I mean, that whole situation with the mom from Full House and her daughter.
Yeah. I remember hearing about that.
That's not surprising for the people that I grew up with.
Like our system for college entry is very different. We have a point system.
It's supposed to be that way.
So it's like you can't
Mhm.
have that, which is, I mean, because we're so small as a country, if we didn't have a very anonymous system, there would be corruption, because that is the way small places go. You know somebody who knows somebody, and
Not just
maybe
small.
no money gets exchanged, but so
Not
we're
just
we're
small.
we're totally we're totally anonymous. We do usually 7 subjects, and we do exams, standardized exams in all of those subjects, and you get up to a total of 100 points for so your A1 grade, your sort of 95
That's
percent
where,
above,
yeah, the
that
10.
you get 100 points for that, and then you get 95 for the next grade down, and 90, and it goes down the way. And then you apply to the college you want to go to, and the course you want to go to, and basically there are a limited number of places, and those places are assigned to the top however many points. So it's all numbers,
It
and
works
that's not.
that way here, except when the money gets involved.
Yeah, but because it's all allocated through a central thing called the CAO, Central Applications Office.
Yeah.
There's nobody you can go and bribe. It's all.
Yeah, see, I remember going to an admin's office where it was literally an intake administration office, and, I mean, they're organized. It's just yeah, America has a different way of doing things, and
Yeah,
it's
it's really
very
interesting.
it's very prevalent in I mean, don't get me wrong. There are other way you can get into college normally. I got into college normally. I actually got in through Disabled Student Services because
Oh, cool.
I have a learning disability that
Mhm.
allowed me to qualify for that. So I there are other avenues, but the truth of the matter is when that whole situation came out,
Mhm.
I wasn't surprised. And even
Yeah,
when she said the young girl made an announcement that she said, "Look, I didn't understand. I didn't know. This is just the way it is." She wasn't
yeah.
wrong.
Oh, we've
She
got some.
wasn't wrong.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what blows my mind is like this was normal behind the scenes
That's
in
crazy.
Hollywood, LA. That's the way things were done. Things are changing majorly. It's very clear that being able to sweep things under the rug is no longer happening. I mean, the Britney Spears case is showing that, the Johnny
Yeah,
Depp case is showing that. Paris
yeah.
Hilton is doing her thing. I mean, you can just watch how things are happening these days, and the industry being able to use people just to get ahead and then
Mhm.
throwing them aside is no longer working. They're not standing for it. And this college admissions scandal is like one of the minute things that was in the background that to the rest of us was normal. It was just normal. It was the way
Yeah.
you did it. If you had money, it was the way you did it.
Yeah, it's just
So
so strange. Like, I mean, obviously there's corruption everywhere, but it's
corruption
not.
is so deep seated in human nature.
Mhm.
The truth is we can't have positive without negative.
Mhm.
You can't uncover corruption and fix it without there being corruption.
Mhm.
So to me, it's kind of like this has been a long time coming, but
Mhm.
I'm just so glad it's actually being fixed because there are so many people I knew out of high school that should have been able to get into the college they wanted to,
Mhm.
and they couldn't simply because they didn't have the money. They didn't have the financial backing like some of these other people. And then some of these people that are going to college and paying for it, there's San Diego State was known as the party school. Like
Mhm.
you went for the fraternities and the sororities. You didn't go to school to learn. And it's
How do fraternities and sororities work? Because like
you
we
guys
have
don't
call we
you
have
guys
we
don't
have
have fraternities and sororities?
no, we have clubs and societies.
Oh, so
Uh,
that's an American thing.
yeah, that's an American thing.
Okay.
So like I've heard that like you can live in a house
Mhm.
with
Frat
your.
house or sorority house. Okay, so the frats are for the boys.
Yeah,
The
and the
sororities are for
sororities
the
are for the
girls.
girls.
There's
Yeah,
something that's called Rush Week.
yeah.
And what happens is it's like the first or second week of college, all of the sorority and frat leaders, the people that are in charge of
Yeah.
running the philanthropy projects and all of that stuff, they put out booths and they get you different sororities and different frats have different qualifications.
Yeah.
Like some frats and sororities are just for certain degrees
Yeah.
and, graduate studies. Other
Yeah.
fraternities and sororities are based on your parents' lineage or whatever else. Not so much anymore. It's also been 20 years since I've been to college, so I'm
Yeah.
going off of
But that's weird.
some older
That's
information.
so weird.
But yeah, there's houses that are bought by the fraternities and sororities are actually considered independent nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
So they are able to do anything that a nonprofit would do, own a property, have employees, and all that kind of stuff. So
Wow.
it's structuralized very much, which is also why philanthropy is a big deal for them.
Yeah.
Because as a nonprofit, you need to have some sort of philanthropic involvement in order to be a
Okay.
nonprofit. But that's kind of what it is it's like a little it's like the group or society that you get to be a part of that
And
has
are
the
you only
same
in one?
as far as I know, I never joined a sorority.
Yeah.
That was something I went to pledge week and it wasn't my forte. I was
Yeah,
never,
that's fair.
I was never into I was going to college to go to college. I wasn't going to college to be, I didn't know what I wanted to be yet. So choosing
Mhm.
and putting myself into a section, I was like, I can't do this. My major was undeclared until I graduated.
Wow.
So, but yeah, sorority, it's more of like your little hub. And like for people that are
Yeah.
from out of state, they can rent a room in the sorority house instead of finding an apartment or anything else. And it's a level of security because you're living with women that have or men that have been I mean, you range from freshmen to seniors,
Yeah.
so they can show you the ropes, they can help you out. But yeah,
Yeah.
it depends. Like some frats are parties and some aren't. It all depends.
Mm.
But for the most part, it's like your little niche that you get to find to scoot your butt into and be
Yeah.
safe.
We have like in some ways similar, in some ways different. So we'd have freshers week. So fresher would be what you'd call freshman. We tend to call it just freshers, gender neutral. And sort of so we have yeah, all of the clubs and societies set out booths, but they're not like that. They're not exclusive.
Organized.
They have no qualifications really. I mean, some of them are like there'll be like a psychology society that will mostly be psychology students, but there'll be some students who are just interested in it and maybe aren't taking it as a major but might join anyway. And there's like debate club and the gaming society, and there are one or two societies that are basically party societies, but they generally have to like have something official that they're into.
And do they
Uh,
have like their colors and their like logo and all that?
they have a
See,
logo usually, and then
sororities,
run
you have to
events
like
like
wear your numbers.
yeah, no, that we don't do that.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
you'll walk through
so
the college campus and hear people going, Alpha Beta Phi! Yeah! And it's like, okay.
yeah, we would be like if you started doing that in an Irish university, we'd be like, are you in a cult? And on
I
that
see that.
weird intercultural note, we're gonna go back to sprinting. Yeah. Ooh.
Did you get anything done the
Oh.
last sprint? I don't think we checked in on each other.
Yeah, I did get some stuff. I am going through a paper and summarizing it and kind of figuring out what points I need to write about it. But yeah, I just got too interested in talking to you. This is the problem.
This is the hard part of
Uh
sprints.
this is the hard part of sprints. Um
Back to work.
yeah, did you get anything done?
I did some self-care and I am stuck on a paragraph. I'm trying to describe an altar without describing an altar.
Okay.
So, yeah. it's getting complicated because I'm trying to like another word for mortar and pestle, another word for crystal ball. Another, like, I don't want to say it's a wand, it's a mortar and pestle, it's a crystal ball. Like, the person that's looking at it has never, it doesn't have any acknowledgement of what the items are.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm
So
trying to explain it from a layman's terms.
yeah. I mean, could you get a picture like as an exercise and just
Oh, I
try to
have my
it's
altar that I look at,
yeah.
but it's
But
just
it's almost like there's a mindfulness exercise that sort of like the visitor, some people call it, that you sort of like try to describe a thing that is in front of you as if you're like an alien dropped from space, you've never seen it before, and just describe it in almost purely sensory terms. What does it look like? What does it feel like? You
mhm.
know, if I poke this thing that's sitting in the bowl, it makes a weird high pitched sound.
But he can't touch it right now because it's
Okay.
protected by magic.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he literally has to like,
What does it
yeah,
look like?
I have to
Yeah.
explain it like he's coming in on this thing that's covered with this white energy, and these are the items on this table, and
Yeah.
trying to explain it set up like an altar without
Without
blatantly
yeah,
stating it's an
that
altar.
it's an altar. Okay. Well, that's an interesting challenge. Yeah, you should definitely
I'm
I'm
stuck.
looking forward to hearing about that when we come back from the sprint. Okay, so how are we doing with this?
25
Uh
on the clock.
25. Yeah, I'm just trying to see. There we go. Is
There
it
you go.
adding? Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah, I've just noticed I've been adding more and more of these down the bottom. I didn't know they were staying. All right. I'm going to mute myself, and I'm looking forward to hearing about altars when I get back.
Okay.
Hello, and we're back from our final sprint. Ooh, we've got a commenter. Hello, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Christina says, "Thank you for the productivity time. I sub to check out more of your streams as they come. Happy writings, friends."
I
Hey,
I did a
yay.
little promotion for you on the Discord channel
Oh,
for the
wow.
author tube. So I took our
Thank
stream
you.
and put it up on 2 of the Discord channels to
Hello,
help.
Dharma. Dharma's in Arizona. Hello.
Hello.
Kelleher, you might have Irish roots too. Maybe.
Mm,
Yeah, it's an
that
Irish
might
name.
be.
You
So I
were
was hoping
saying,
that people would come pop in.
yeah, well, welcome everybody. I've seen people kind of popping in and out as the stream has gone on, and that's okay. You stay as long as you want. We're not going to try and keep you here in our basement anywhere. But you are very welcome. I just a wee bit. Yes, yes. Irish, we get everywhere, turns out.
I love the accent. It's nice to have a
Yeah.
different accent.
I have drifted towards your accent over the course of the stream.
Well, don't worry. I've been picking up Southern drawls since I've been out in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Y'all is becoming one of my mainstays. So,
Y'all's a great word.
but I never used to say y'all. Like, y'all come over now. That never came out of my mouth before.
English needs a second person plural. And if there isn't one, we have to invent one. Here in Dublin, it's yiz.
Yiz?
Yiz.
What does that mean?
Yiz or use. It's kind of like it's not used quite in the same way as y'all.
Okay.
But it's like if you're our audience here, it's yiz out there, or maybe ye if you're from the country, from the Midlands. Yeah,
That reminds me of our legal term yeet, which
yeet.
means to kick it out. It's yeeted.
Oh
Why
yeah,
don't you
I like
yeet?
yeet.
It's like to kick it out, to get rid of it. Y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
I grew up in Georgia. Y'all's a staple. It
Y'all's
is.
it's a good
And
word.
and I've learned, bless your heart.
Oh,
Bless your
oh,
heart.
sick burn.
Yeah. I was like I didn't get it done to me, but I watched a lady do it to someone else, and I was like, I looked at my ex and I was like, that was an insult, wasn't it? And she was like,
Yes,
oh yeah.
that's
Oh
an
yeah.
insult.
It's like, oh
Yeah. Is do you get bless your little cotton socks?
no, but I've heard bless your little, and then it ends there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, maybe if you come back, we can do Irish curses.
Versus
Uh
or Mexican curse.
oh, you can
I
tell me
live
Mexican
next to
curses.
I've been to Mexico too many times. I grew up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then my mother used to, when she got really, really mad, she would cuss in Italian because she grew up speaking Italian because of my great grandmother. And so when she
Yeah.
got really, really mad, she would yell at us in Italian.
That's great. I love languages. I love learning about other people's languages. Oh, Irish curses and Mexican curses. Dharma's keen.
You have to remember to
So
do the plus 18 on the next stream, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Over
Might
18
have
content.
to next time that we're together anyway. How did the altar description go?
I ended up, since I realized, okay, so listening to a couple of people's streams, including BC and Sako's, one thing that
Mm-hmm.
I really picked up is that people tend to scan over too much. Like if it's detailed
Mm.
information, they tend to scan over it. So I decided to break it into some dialogue instead.
Ooh, that's a
And
nice
so
tactic.
it's the two people, it's one of the people that's looking at it at, like, they're going back and forth, like, um so for instance, he asks about, um I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a little long, but
Yeah,
basically
that's
he
okay.
asks, he's like, why is this like this? And he's like, for this reason and for this reason. Well, why is, and then looking, as he's looking at it, the way that he's like, well, why is that piece on that side? And like the way I had the conversation go, it explains the layout of the altar and the way that he's describing the pieces. Like, instead of saying, oh, there's a wand, he's like, what's that stick?
Yeah.
So that's how I was
so
able
you've got a kind of a character to be explained to, so that's kind of useful.
Because I had the shop owner just kind of sitting there as I was like explaining what he's looking at, and I was like, why don't I have a little bit of exchange here instead of just a huge block of words and then going into the dialogue? So I just kind of I moved some stuff up, and
that sounds really good. I like that.
So I cheated. I did some research on somebody else's, and they're like, this is how I did it, and I was like, stealing.
Well, you know what they say, great artists steal.
What is it? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah. The one I'm thinking about it is sort of a good artist borrows and a great artist steals wholesale.
I like that one because it's kind of true.
Yeah. Well, there's only so many ways to skin a cat, so may as well look
music
at
videos. They're figuring that out with music videos right now, and everybody getting pinged for copying somebody else's video idea. And I'm like, if the song is different, the video is different. But that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's only Yeah.
But I think it's Doja Cat that just got in trouble for stealing her newest video. I think it's Doja Cat. Tell me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows. Yeah. But she just got in trouble for her newest video taking the same aesthetic as somebody else's video from like 2 years ago. Yeah. And the other artist actually came forward and was like, her video's totally different. Here's what I did with mine. Here's what they did with theirs. Like,
yeah.
There's really no comparison here. It's two different songs. But
yeah, it's like with text and with music, there are rules that's been worked out. You know how many chord progressions you can have the same without it without it being.
People copyright the time signature and key signature. So
yeah, I mean that ain't gonna stand up.
Well, for certain songs, that's what they can copyright.
Yeah.
If you have a song with a certain beats per minute, you can copyright that version of it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's fascinating. I managed to sort of get an introductory paragraph done, completely reworked, starting in a different place. So I am well on my way. So something happened this sprint.
Were you able to find any of the...
Oh, yeah, I found the papers.
Oh, good.
I've got them, and I've just been kind of making notes and sort of I'm starting to write now. So once I have gone and got myself a sandwich after this stream ends, I will probably go on and find somebody else's stream to go and bother and do the next bit.
Do you know about Devin Cutting's list?
I do. We are on Devin Cutting's list. So if anybody in the comments is not familiar with Devin Cutting, you should totally go look them up on YouTube, because they make daily playlists of sprints like this, and you can find more things if you want to keep working. I know that there is somebody who is lined up to start it too, so if you head on over, you will probably catch their first sprint. Other than that, I will be doing my next sprint at the same time whenever this happened for you. It's noon in UTC +1, but you can I'm gonna put it up. It'll be on Devin Cutting's list. It will be there. But yeah, same time on Thursday and same time next Tuesday. Devin with here I will spell
actually,
it.
You know what? Hold on. I'm not a mod on your channel. If you go to his list and you copy the link, you can paste it in your
Yeah,
chat.
that's a good idea.
And so
I'm going to do that. In the meantime, plug your channel. Your link is below anyway.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, hello, a good afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. My name is Kibby Roseland. I am a writer by day, psychic by night. I do streams, writing sprint streams, Mondays and Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Jack is 6 hours ahead of me, so it's probably more like 7 o'clock if you follow his channel. Other than that, come and join us. Come check out the AuthorTube community because we do exactly what we do here. We sit, we write, we sprint, and we enjoy conversation.
Get distracted talking about each other's school systems.
I think distraction is half the relaxation tactic because when my brain's able to think about other things, I don't get so overwhelmed with the storyline.
And that's good in and of itself. Yeah, and it's thank you everybody who has commented. It's really nice to see the community coming to say hello to us. I like talking to people. As you can see, I do it well nigh constantly. But it's always nice to have more friends to talk to. So I really hope that we will see you again on a Thursday. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go and get a sandwich. Okay. Kibby is probably got to go and do like breakfast.
It's 8 a.m. So yeah,
it's breakfast time.
Is calling my name.
Yeah, we are in that happy time zone of food time. Mm-hmm. So adios, everybody.
Bye.
Slán.